All right. Hello. Friday night. What else better do you have to do than do a live with moi? Judging by the one person who's here. Oh, jeez. Okay, but what we're going to do is we're going to do the burden stitch on the boat down here at the bottom. So what we're going to do is we've got to do a little bit of back stitch first, and then I'm going to show you how to do the burden stitch. Now, normally with the burden stitch, we literally do a straight line, but these ones are a little bit curved. So I'm just going to finish this line down the bottom, just so it can have that slight curve to it. And then after that, I'm going to do the same thing for some of these other ones. If you're just coming on, we literally haven't done anything else. Hi, Carrie. I'm only doing a couple back stitches, big long ones, okay? Because I explained a little bit already, but I'm going to explain again. I actually don't think anyone was here. But the reason is because normally with the burden stitch, which is what we're going to do today, burden, like I don't want to be a burden, it's the burden stitch. Normally you would do just one straight stitch and then the stitches are going to lay on top of that. But because I'm using it in a slightly curved area, we're just going to do a couple of the big long back stitches first. And that's literally only because if I did it straight like this, I don't think it would be as effective. I mean, obviously you can try. But I just think that like slight little curve helps a little bit. So we're just going to do some big long back stitches here. Okay. So like I said earlier, typically this is just one big long straight stitch. And I'm just doing a couple back stitches so that we can have a curve to our boat bottom. Okay. Because I just think if it's a straight, if we just do big long straight stitches, it's going to be like bam. And I definitely did not trace these very well. So if you did a better job at tracing than me, then good, because I did not. I'm just going to try and make these a little bit more even than I've traced them, you know? That's all. So, so this is going to be one of those stitches where we're laying one big long stitch down, and then we're going to do this is 2 strands, the same as the top. Sorry, I just kept stitching because I had the same thread on it from yesterday, and I forgot to even tell you guys. Oh. I forgot to even say. Okay, and then down here, oh no, let's redo that, just a little bit lower. So we're going to put some stitches on top of this, again, just straight stitch. And normally with the burden stitch, you're using these straight stitches to kind of hold down that one big long stitch. Now, because I wanted to have a little bit of a curve to mine, like I said before, it will be a little bit different, but not wildly different. Do you know what I mean? And it is a lot smaller. Normally I would probably do this in like a bigger area, okay? But I think this is going to work really well. Now, the same with these here. you can, we are going to be adding these to this side as well. So you can go ahead and put those all in now if you want to, or you can just do it later, because really the amount of stitching that we're going to do here is very small compared to the other side. So there we go. Also, in the WhatsApp group, we've scheduled our first live. So our live team or Zoom or whatever we're going to use. I haven't sorted it out yet because the first kind of week that we were here, or the month that we were here, was wild. But we're going to sort it all out, and we're going to have our first one on Monday. So if you have not joined the WhatsApp group, you definitely should. I think it's super fun. I think it's really nice to chat to everyone about everything that's going on in our lives. I think it's super fun to have people kind of like right there that you can talk to. I've also done some tracing for some people who've asked for it. A person, not some people. I'm not gonna like big myself up. You've got your coupon code. So if you don't know, you get 15% off coupon code that you can use on anything in the shop. We're going to do a PDF release really soon. So all of the past patterns of the month from January, we're going to bring them all back. So you can use your 15% on that if you want to. And then, yeah, it's super fun. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get a bit closer so you can really see. And the first line of stitching, we're going to do this one here. Okay, this line. And what you're going to do is do tiny little stitches. Now, 2 strands might be too much for this. I might actually switch to one, but I'm just testing here because I'm thinking I should go like this, straight up and down. So let's start on the other side. And what you're going to do is you're going to come up in the blue area, over the line, and down in the blue area. So you're only doing tiny little stitches like this. Do a bit of space. You can make these as close together as you want. Okay. Do leave a space though. All right? So don't put them like a satin stitch where they're so close that you can't put any stitches in between, because the next row we're going to go in between these stitches just like this, but we're going to slot them in between the other stitches. And this is called a burden stitch. I've got 2 strands on my little needle. I'm trying to keep them about the same distance apart. Hi, Mel. Hi, Jen. Mel finally made a live. She's only been complaining that she hasn't made one like every day since the Stitchalong started. Every day she's like, how did I miss it? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know, dude. Okay, now this next row, we're going to go in between these stitches, okay? Now, if you wanted to, you could do a lighter color, like a lighter brown. She said, I know I'm such a little whiny butt. No, you're not. You're not a whiny butt, okay? You just want to come and chat with your friends, and that's totally understandable. So, we're going in between these right here. In between. Do you see? So much like the brick stitch is offset, so are these. So you're doing just tiny little stitches across this line, like this. And then the row below, you're going to go into the open space in between the stitches. This is the next row. Again, just tiny little stitches. You could even do a little row of half stitches for this top part if you wanted to keep it all cohesive. Do you see now why I was like, I could do a garden shed like this, but I could also do a ship? You should have seen me going back and forth. And my mom was like, just pick one. It's fine. And I was like, oh, but I want to do this. I want to do that. And I was like, oh. The thing is that I don't want anyone to ever be disappointed. Do you know what I mean? So I would hate for someone to be like, that wasn't worth it. Or I didn't have fun. Or I didn't like it. You know? It's like an open brick stitch. Kind of, yes. But without the pressure. Because all you're doing is just slotting these in between. So it doesn't have to be even. They don't have to be, I mean, they should be ish the same length. Ish the same width apart. But there's no, like, rule to follow. They won't look wonky if you mess up. You know? This is the burden stitch. So, like I said before, normally these, you just got one big long straight stitch, and then these here are just tacking it down, kind of like the Bayou stitch, kind of, you know, where you're just sort of like couching almost. Okay, think of it like decorative couching. If you want to, like I said, you could also put a little half stitch here, but be careful because you really don't want to go over the top of it. Do you know what I mean? You don't want it to be like pulling this down too much or anything like that. So if you did, be really careful about going just straight up to that edge and not like manipulating that line in any way. Now these ones on this side here are going to be a bit weird, only because you're not going to do too many. So let's go to one that is quite we'll probably get the most stitches out of these ones, and then we can kind of fill them in from there. So I've got 1, 2, and we'll do 1 in the middle of this one just to kind of keep the pattern. We'll do 1 up here. No. And then we'll do 1 up here like this. And maybe even a little half one here that kind of goes off the page a little bit. Okay. So there we go. That's it for today. I told you it was going to be really, really short. However, I wanted to have a full video just with this stitch. I didn't want to have to do like the 25 minutes of back stitch and then also this. So we've got 2 separate ones, and this is how they look for the ship. And that's it for today. So again, we've got quite an easy day. Okay? I really like that stitch. I think it's so fun. And I feel like it's really, like I'm a little bit surprised that I haven't used it before because this is the first time I've ever taught it. But also, I feel like it could be good for like the side of a house, like some texture on something, like maybe like a Christmas Stitchalong type vibe. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like I could really use it for like a lot more than just one thing. You know how like you learn to stitch and you think, well, I can only use this for like one situation. Like a woven wagon wheel rose is like, you can kind of make a woven wagon wheel rose and that's it, you know? But I feel like with this one, it feels super cool. But 2, I feel like we could really use it in a lot of places. So keep that in mind when you're doing your next stitches. And that's it for me. I hope you have a lovely, lovely evening, and I will see you tomorrow when we will do another stitch. All right, bye.